This video is going to cover unemployment. How exactly do we measure unemployment? What is unemployment? In order to be unemployed, workers have to actively be looking for a job. The unemployment rate is the percent of people in the labor force who want a job but are not working. And you calculate it by taking the number of unemployed divided by the number in the labor force times 100. Who is in the labor force? In order to be counted, you have to be at least 16. You have to be able and willing to work. You cannot be institutionalized, which means you're not in jail or in a hospital or in a nursing home. You cannot be in the military, nor can you be in school full-time, nor can you be retired. The Bureau of Labor keeps statistics related to unemployment, and you can find those statistics on their website. Let's go through a few examples here. Your retired grandparent would not be counted as unemployed. They're not in the labor force. A 16-year-old high school student who applies for work is unemployed. A 16-year-old high school student who quits work for a sport does not count. They're not considered part of the labor force. A single mom that's working and looking for a second job is considered employed. A college student who works part-time at a grocery store is considered employed. A prisoner serving a 5-year sentence does not count. They're not in the labor force. And a teacher that does not work during the summer is still considered employed. So think about yourself. Would you be considered part of the labor force and employed or not? There are 3 different types of unemployment. The first one we're going to talk about is frictional unemployment. Frictional refers to temporary unemployment or someone that's between their jobs. The individuals are qualified workers with transferable skills. So examples might be high school or college graduates that are looking for jobs, individuals that were fired or are looking for a better job, or seasonal unemployment. This is a specific type of frictional unemployment, which is due to the time of year and the nature of the job. The second type is structural unemployment. This kind refers to changes in the labor force that make a certain job or skills obsolete. So these workers do not have transferable skills and their jobs are never going to come back. So workers have to learn new skills in order to get a job. The permanent loss of jobs is referred to as creative destruction. So examples would be a VCR repairman or the old-fashioned milkman who would literally come to people's house to deliver milk. Technological unemployment is a type of structural unemployment where automation and machinery replace workers. So think of the kiosks where you place an order at a restaurant. And the third type is referred to as cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment is unemployment that's caused by a recession. So as the demand for goods and services falls, the demand for labor falls, and workers end up getting laid off. This is sometimes referred to as demand deficit unemployment. So examples are steel workers that are laid off during a recession, or restaurant owners that are laying off their employees because of the pandemic. The goal of unemployment is not zero. There is what we refer to as the natural rate of unemployment. Frictional and structural unemployment are present at all times because some people will always be between jobs or replaced by technology. So the economy is doing great if there is only frictional and structural unemployment. The natural rate of unemployment is frictional plus structural unemployment, the amount of employment that exists when the economy is considered to be healthy and growing. Full employment output is the real GDP created when there is no cyclical unemployment. The U.S. is considered to be at full employment when there is 4 to 6% unemployment. What's the difference between the natural rate of unemployment and what we call the non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment? Both ideas represent full employment. The NRU focuses on output and not having too much unemployment. And the NAIRU focuses on inflation and not having too little unemployment. Wait, isn't low employment a good thing? You don't want unemployment to be too low because that can cause prices to rise since consumers will end up spending more and producers will bid up the price of resources. A low unemployment that doesn't cause high prices is considered non-accelerating. And here's a graph of that over time. In this slide, we see side-by-side graphs of the production possibility curve in the business cycle. So the red dot represents unemployment that's over the natural rate of where we'd like it to be. So that would be represented by a point within the PPC, which would represent inefficiency, so a recession. And then over here you have that point under or below where we would like real GDP. So the economy would be in a recession here. The yellow point here, unemployment is healthy. So resources are being used efficiently and the economy is growing at a healthy rate. C, you have super low unemployment, but you have inflation. So you're operating out here. And that would represent here the economy is growing quickly, but the downside of that is inflation. Do you think all countries would have the same natural rate of unemployment? When someone's unemployed, what incentives might they have to search for a new job? For what reasons might a person decide not to look for a new job? And how does the government play a role in this? The natural rate of unemployment in France and Germany is around 8 to 10%. Economists attribute the difference to more generous unemployment benefits in these European countries. In the U.S., unemployment benefits last for about 6 months, but in some European countries, they're indefinite. So those generous benefits are going to reduce incentives for individuals out of work to find a job. There are some criticisms of the unemployment rate. Discouraged workers are people that are no longer looking for a job because they're frustrated. So think of the recent pandemic. If someone cannot find a job because many employers are not hiring, then they're going to give up. The labor force participation rate is the percent of the population in the labor force. If people leave the labor force, the unemployment rate is going to fall and it's going to look better than it actually is. Underemployed workers are someone who, they might want to work more hours, but they're simply not able to find a job. So they're going to take a part-time job, and again, they're still considered part of the labor force. The overall unemployment rate does not show disparities for minorities and teenagers. And here's a practice question, and the answer is A. Another one, and the answer is B. And another one, and the answer is D. And here is a practice FRQ, and the answer is below.